So guys, we've seen clips of these tanks throughout the last few videos one way or another, but I figured today it was time to give a more in-depth look at what's been going on with Nano Corner. Alright, so starting off, let's look at the 5-gallon Fluval Spec here. This tank has been up and running now for probably at least 3 or 4 years consistently. It's gone through a lot of changes during that time period. Most recently, it went through a change about a week ago. One of my previous videos not too long ago, I said that I was pretty much done messing with tanks and making any major changes. Well, I had a little bit of an inspirational idea and I just had to put it into practice. Sometimes I just can't help myself. But what I really wanted to do was play with the above water line of the tank. And so if you see now, I have some driftwood, which this piece was already in this tank, but I propped it up on another piece in order to bring it up and out of the water a little bit more, give a little bit more definition to the aquascape. And of course, it gave me a good chance to kind of clean things up a little bit here and there, move some of the, change some of the stone work. I now have lace stone in this tank again, which I haven't had in this tank in probably a couple years now at this point. But I really like the look of this rock inside of this tank with most of the scapes I do in this tank. So I decided to do that. The shrimp in the tank are all doing great. When I did rescape it, I did have a good chance to really get a look at the numbers, and I'm gonna guess I have at least somewhere between 150 and 200. So they are breeding at a great rate. Now the bad news in this tank, as you can see, I am down to just one white cloud minnow. No matter what I did, putting on the lid, leaving it off, somehow they always manage to find a spot to jump out of. And at this point, I'm probably not going to add any more fish to this tank. I'm just going to leave it as a shrimp only tank. Alright, and jumping over to the Cobalt 8-gallon, you can see the neons are getting close to the top there. They know it's close to feeding time. This tank, no changes in this tank, so this one's staying the way it is. But I did do a pretty heavy trim on some of the Pogostamen erectus in the back and the Rotella up front, just to kind of get a little bit more bushy growth out of that. This tank probably has the least amount of updates out of the two. Unfortunately, there is some sad news in this tank too, and I was really bummed out about this. During a water change a couple weeks ago, right afterwards, I noticed I wasn't really seeing my Fluval juveniles scooting around in the tank as much. And when I finally did see one, it was pretty much sitting still. And at this point, it has been probably a week and I have not seen them. So I'm going on the assumption that I did end up losing the two Fluval juveniles. And like I said, I was pretty bummed out about that. Going back a few months, I did raise these two from fry, from the adults in the 40 breeder. And it just kind of really hit me hard when I wasn't seeing them anymore. Probably because I did raise them. It's, something about raising fish, you kind of get that connection to them. So I'm really bummed about that. But there is some interesting news in this tank too. There is a new fish in this tank. I've had him now for about a couple months, and I've just kind of been waiting to update you guys on him. And I am absolutely loving this fish. It is it's actually a native fish, the first native fish I've kept in a very long time since I've been actually keeping fish. It's a swamp darter, which I did not plan on finding. I went into this fish store and I happened to see it in one of their one of the feeder tanks, and it just caught my attention. The behavior is very similar to a goby, but it has been a really personable fish. When I feed the tank, or sometimes even when I come home, somehow it knows and it comes out of hiding to almost greet me, which is hilarious to say the least. But I'm really enjoying that fish, and the neons in this tank, they're all still doing well. Shrimp in this tank are multiplying as well. Every now and then I will take some of the shrimp out of here to restock the 40 breeder. So anyways, guys, that is pretty much it. I'm going to wrap it up here. Just a quick update on these two tanks, because I know I've been showing them off a lot in a lot of recent videos, but not really giving you guys a really good solid update on them. So I really wanted to get you guys caught up to speed on what's been going on. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, remember to hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you in next week's video.